everything that you'll need to know to get started for the semester. So everything about moving into campus, orientation, what the first few days and weeks will look like of the semester. So some ground rules, or just how we're going to work this session, is that we will be recording. So please recognize that. And if you have any questions, if you can put them into the chat, and we'll answer those questions throughout and at the end. We'll also stick around at the end of the session to answer any questions that you don't want to answer and ask in front of a large group. So we have a lot of people with us tonight from the college. I'll go through introductions and then we'll get started. First up, we have Andre Richer. He is our coordinator of student engagement. He works with Programs Board and our orientation team. We also have Danielle Brush, our associate director of Residence Life. She handles all of housing, so you've probably gotten a lot of emails from her. We also have Madison Rechtenwald and Nicole Gunderson, our two student orientation coordinators here, and Lori Shearer, who is our director of the Wellness Center. Driving all of this behind the scenes is Dr. Christine Woolley, our assistant associate dean of curriculum. So we'll get started. I'm going to have Danielle start off by talking to you about moving into the residence halls. You don't have to have your cameras on, so feel free to turn those off and just listen in and ask any questions you might have in the chat. So I'll let Danielle take it away.
Hey everybody, like Derek said, you've probably already gotten a million emails from me. Those will continue, so keep checking your SMCM email as we move through the summer. I'm going to share my screen with you so you'll be able to see the information that I'm giving you. We will talk a little bit about what the check-in day is going to look like for both our transfer students and our first year students. And then I also will talk about a little bit about our returning students, because I do think there's some of our sophomores in here. So I do want to make sure that we get through that as well. So give me 1 second so I can pull all this stuff up for you. Okay, we should see like a blue screen, bluish purple movement process. I don't know. We could have a debate on the colors of what this is later. Maybe that'll be something we talk about when you guys move in. Okay, so as you guys already know, because through all the emails from me, first year students arrive on the 25th, transfer students come on the 27th, our returning students are on the 28th and the 29th. So things that you already have and what you already know, just reminder. So you've already all received your housing confirmation and roommate assignment. So all that information is always going to be sent to your SMCM email account. I cannot share that outside of that email account, so just make sure that you are all checking that. So if you don't know yet who your roommate is, or you don't know yet where you have been placed, double check your SMCM email. If you need it resent, just email me and I will be able to give that to you again. In that email, at least in the first one, you have the contact information for your roommates. So there should be a cell phone listed as well as their SMCM email, so you can start communicating with them. If you are placed in the suites, so Lewis Quad, Waring Commons, or if you're in a townhouse or placed in an apartment, so that's more primarily for our transfer students or for our sophomores that are here now. You can go into your residence account, which is where you signed up for housing in the first place, did your contract, and you will see a list on the far left-hand side of your home screen that gives you every person's contact information that is in there in your unit. So you'll be able to get a hold of them as well. That confirmation email also has a list of what to bring and things to keep at home. So make sure you get eyes on that. So you bring what you need to bring. That stuff is also all on our website. So make sure you check that out before you come to campus. You've also all received a Sign Up Genius sign up sheet. So this would have come through my email, but it comes through Sign Up Genius as well. So if it did get sent to your spam folder or your trash folder or something like that, I do apologize for that. If you don't have that, it was sent to all new students on August 4th and all returning students on August 5th. So if you don't have that sheet, email me after this and I will make sure that you get that. Sign up is required, so we do need you to select the individual time that you are going to be arriving on campus. We can get you checked in correctly. Okay, so here are just some expectations for all new students. So this is for new students, first year students, and for transfer move-in. So when you arrive to campus, you will likely be greeted by a barrage of people with balloons and signs. They will be able to direct you where you need to go. So if you are confused when you're getting to campus, just let them tell you where you need to go. If public safety is out there, or if a resident assistant or anybody else helping with move-in asks you to like roll your window down and give them the name of the building that you're going to, it's really just so they can make sure you're going to the same place. So just go with the flow on that. They'll put you directly where you need to be. You'll be able to temporarily park either really close to the building that you live in or directly in front of it. So again, our staff is gonna put your car, not drive your car physically, but direct you to park as close as possible to where you need to go. So then you'll be able to get into the building, you'll check in, and then you'll move the stuff out of your car and then into your room. So we might give you, depending on what traffic's looking like, we might give you like a little tag that says like a 15-minute time limit. That's not like 15 minutes and you have to be completely moved into your room, anything like that. It's just kind of more of a reminder for us to make sure that we're working with the flow of traffic, to make sure other students that are coming after you have the same option to park very close to the building like you did. So pretty straightforward process. Really, there will be a ton of signs, a ton of people everywhere just directing you where you need to go. So checking in is a pretty simple process. You'll go directly into your building. So if you're in one of the traditional halls, Prince George, Caroline, Dorchester, or Queen Anne, that check-in table will be right there in the front. And again, everyone outside will be pointing you in that direction, so you will not get lost. If you're going into Waring Commons, there will be RAs, OLs right in the entryway of that complex, getting ready for you guys to check in. And then Lewis Quad and the townhouses that'll be right in front or right beside Lewis Quad. You'll see signs for Solomon's Kitchen. The office that you'll be going into is right beside that. So again, there will be a ton of people around to point you in those directions. So when you get to the check-in table, regardless if it is an outdoor check-in like WC or in Lewis Quad maybe, we do ask that you wear a mask just for everybody's safety, for yours and for my staff safety. So we will be masked up during the check-in process. And then of course, we're still wearing masks in all of our buildings on campus, but I just wanted to make a note of that for our outside check-ins as well. But when you get to the check-in table, the orientation leaders will get you your ID card and a couple other fun items. Andre's going to talk to you about that when he starts talking about orientation. And then the resident assistant staff, who will be the students living in the building amongst you. You'll get to know them pretty well while you're on campus, but they'll get you checked in, give you your room key, and then either take you to your room or direct you to your room. Either way, we'll get you to where you need to go. So once you've gotten that sorted out, then you can go back out to your vehicle and start unloading. For freshman move-in, first year move-in, we do have a ton of staff available, so they will be able to help you move all your stuff very quickly into your room. If you don't want people to touch your items, that's also fine. We're more than happy to let you move in however you choose. So we definitely have enough people to help you move in, but if you also are just want to be with your own stuff, that's totally fine too, but there will be people available. So for the sign-up sheet itself, this is just kind of a note. Students, they need to schedule that 30-minute check-in. You can arrive at any time during that check-in. So if you signed up for 8, you really can come anytime between 8 and 8:30. If you're a little late, we're not going to turn you away. If you're a little early, we're not going to turn you away. So you can check in outside of those times, but we really do prefer that you check in those specific time blocks. They are kind of designed and provided to encourage social distance, but also keep up with the flow of traffic that's outside. So we don't have too many cars just like piling up, or too many students in line trying to move in. So if you have signed up for your 8 o'clock time, like try to be there between 8 and 8:30, just to help us with limiting and social distancing and things like that. So each student is permitted to have 2 guests in the building at a time. If you need to bring an extra person, that's totally fine. The 2 guest rule is just to keep down the amount of people that are in the building at any given time. So we don't recommend that you bring like 8 guests with you and a whole van load of people to help you move in. If you do need assistance, we definitely can accommodate that. Or if you need extra people to come with you, that's totally fine. Just know that the reason we have that in place is to kind of limit contact between guests and other guests and family members between each students and things like that. As I said earlier, masks are to be worn inside of our buildings on campus at all times. So until you get to your assigned room. So if you're in one of the suites or an apartment or a townhouse, as soon as you unlock that front door and get in, you're free to not wear a mask inside your own space. But in the lounges, common rooms, things like that, in the traditional halls, you will still need to wear your mask while you're out and about. But as soon as you're in your room, unpacking with your family, you're fine to take your mask off at that point. And then I think I glazed over this before. The 30-minute time slot is for your arrival. It's not a time limit on how long you can be on campus to check in. So you do really have until orientation starts for your guests to still be on campus to help you move in. So for first year students, we do ask guests to leave by 2 p.m. Just so we can ensure that all of our students are able to make it to their first orientation activity, which Andre will talk about. And then for transfer students, it's the same by 1 p.m. Same thing, we just don't want you to miss orientation in any way. So for check-in for the 25th, 8 a.m. is the first slot. We have time slots the whole way up till 12:30. For the 27th move-in, it's 10 to noon is the last time slot to give you guys time to be able to unpack, settle your stuff before you move to orientation. Guests should plan to leave campus, or not leave campus, but guests should plan to leave the building when students do go to orientation. We can't really permit for families to stay inside the building after their students have gone. So students need to be around if their guests are still on campus, specifically in the buildings. If you want to kind of walk around and see what else is on campus, that's totally fine. But within our buildings, in that controlled space, the student needs to be with their guests while they're unpacking and doing things like that. I see there's a lot of questions in the chat. I'm really bad about reading this as I'm talking. So I might, when Andre starts, I might start answering them also back in the chat. I don't know if that works for this.
I've been answering many of them, but if you could talk briefly about students who are arriving early for sports or other things on campus, what their check-in procedure will be.
Yeah, okay, so for those of you in here that are coming early, you should have already received an email from Monica Armstrong with your specific check-in time. It's not as specific as these time slots because there's a lot less of you that are coming in. So you would have gotten an email for her, for instance, if anyone is here on the volleyball team, I think their check-in is August 18th, and they were given the 9:30 to noon or a 1 to 4:30 time slot. Whatever the specifics are in that letter is when you can come. There is no specific, I need to sign up for a 30-minute time slot there. You can come at any of the times that were listed in that check-in, or in that confirmation email from Monica. So for you all, you will not be arriving to your residence hall. You will come directly to the Office of Residence Life. So that is in Glendenning Hall 150 is our office number. It's sort of in the back. If you come in the main door, just keep walking straight down the hallway, you'll eventually run into us. Glendenning is right beside the ARC. So if you visited campus, if you would have went out that side door from the ARC, you would have walked right past Glendenning. It shares that parking lot that's behind the ARC. So you kind of already know where to go if you've been on campus before, but you can also email us for more specific questions on what you'll need to do, and we'll be able to answer that. But really it's the same, like you will pick up your key from us. We will check you in for orientation on that day. So say, again, sorry, I'm not trying to pick on volleyball. I just know when you're moving in on the 18th. So again, if you're a volleyball player and you live in Caroline, anytime between 8 and 12:30, make your way down to the orientation part of the check-in table. And then Andre's crew, the OLs, O4, they will give you all of your swag and stuff. So you'll get all of that there. I do believe your coach for early arrival should be directing you to pick up your ID card from the office, from the IT office, but I'm actually not sure about that. Derek, do you have an answer to that one? Where will early arrivals get their IDs?
They'll get them at the check-in table with the orientation leaders.
Okay. Okay. Are there any other questions for check-in for new students that I missed in the chat? Sorry, I'll go through and try to answer them too, but.
One question about lofting kits. Are they available? How does that work?
Yes, so they're available in Queen Anne and Dorchester. Yeah, Queen Anne and Dorchester. So we have had a form that's gone out in the past. So I will send a lofting kit form to students that live in those two buildings that they can select if they want that or not. We'll put a deadline in there, so hopefully we'll be able to get those set up for you before you arrive. If not, we can do it shortly after you get on campus. I'm gonna jump ahead real quick and then I'll circle back to our returner student move-in for any of our sophomore students that are in here. So these are just some reminders for you all prior to move-in. Again, I can't emphasize this enough. If you haven't contacted your roommates, suite mates, or housemates, I really do encourage you to do that, to get to know them before you arrive, figure out who is bringing what, so you don't all show up with like the TV and the fridge and all that stuff. Like, you definitely want to know who is bringing these items, and you genuinely want to know them before you start living with each other. For the sign-up sheet, if you haven't already done it, it is required, except those of you who are arriving early. All other students who are arriving on the 25th, 27th, or for our returning move-in, 28th and 29th, every student needs to sign up for a time, so make sure you do that. A reminder email will be sent out 2 days before your scheduled time from Sign Up Genius to remind you that check-in is coming. So just make sure that you sign up so we know what to expect, when to expect you. Make sure you bring PPE for the semester. So the Wellness Center will have PPE available upon request when you need it, but we do ask that you have your masks and stuff before you arrive, especially during check-in. So that way you can get through the check-in process, you'll have your mask on and everything will be really smooth for you. COVID vaccination records and exemption information also needs turned in. I do believe the initial deadline was August 2nd, but we are still collecting those records. So if you haven't yet turned it in, make sure you go on the medical portal. That's been linked in, I think, 2 of the emails that I've sent out, but I know you've also sent, Lori's also sent stuff, and you've also received information from our Vice President for Student Affairs. So just make sure you click on one of those links to get your information where it needs to go. You can also register for your parking permit through the Office of Public Safety, this website. They've had stuff out through Inside SMCM, as well as sending emails, so you can get that all done before you get here. And then for new students, submitting your photo for your ID card. That will speed up the process for IT. I think those were due already. I'm not entirely sure. Maybe Jarek or Andre could answer that one. And then my last thing is just to continuously check your SMCM emails, because orientation will be sending you stuff. I'll be sending you stuff. Lori will keep sending you information. You'll get all kinds of emails from us moving through the end of the summer. So you definitely want to keep up with all of that. But let me back up one slide real quick for returning students. So all of the check-in information is pretty similar to what is going on the other 2 days of move-in. It's just the times are different. So returning students can choose between time slots from 10 to 4 on August 28th and the 29th. Again, 30-minute time slots is the same thing. You can arrive anytime during that 30 minutes. You can still have 2 guests with you helping you move in. Masks will still be required. One thing for our returning students, to make sure you do have your ID card with you, or at least know your ID number when you are checking in, because the resident assistants will need that information. For everyone else, you will be getting your ID card from the orientation leaders right before you check in for your room. So you'll already have that with you when you arrive on campus. So you don't have to worry about making sure you pack that. But returning students, please don't forget your ID cards when you come back to campus. I think that's all I have, unless there's other questions, Derek, that you wanted me to talk about from the chat.
Nothing else from the chat. We will post information on how to submit your one card photo and the link to get your parking decal as well. We'll post that momentarily. Thank you, Danielle.
Sure. All right, I guess Andre, you are up. I can unshare my screen.
Well, I guess I can take over. My name is Andre. I'm the coordinator for student engagement here, but also work a lot with orientation and the orientation staff. So now that we've talked about the moving in part, now we're talking about what do we do with you after you're here, you know? So I'll take you on a little journey. So if you're not super familiar with this website yet, I hope that you can see the fall orientation. All that looks good on the old screen, or you're not just seeing like a weird new tab. But if you're not familiar with this web page, and you should be, you can just type into Google SMCM orientation. It'll pop right up. Again, just reiterating more about the stuff that Danielle's talked about. If you don't have any of this information, please contact them to get that in there. Our orientation team is built upon the orientation coordinators, who are Madison and Nicole. Both of them are here for you to talk to, put any questions that you have to them. They'll be sure to answer them. The orientation staff consists of all of us, really. A lot of people working behind the scenes, doing logistics, and our orientation leaders. And I think there are 36 of them, all to assist you in everything that you need for orientation. So if you scroll back up, it has a complete week of welcome schedule here. But if you kept scrolling, you can also get it right here. Both of those will take you to the orientation schedule itself, hoping that we transition, and you can see that page also very well. So just kind of taking you on a quick trip through orientation, kind of what that looks like here. So after you move in and you go through all the things that you need to with moving in and checking in, getting all your stuff, then we have lunch available for you for people who have their ID cards and everything. On your one card, you'll be able to kind of get your lunch that way. I do believe that that should all be good. We do set aside some time. So if at that 1 o'clock deadline where your parents are just like, I'm just not ready to leave you just yet, and they haven't kicked you out like my parents, then they can stay until about 1:30. And then we allow time for you to like sneak away from them and kind of begin your college experience. So we have a quick welcome and overview of orientation, a nice welcome barbecue to kind of let you guys all mingle and kind of get to know each other. We do have immediately after the welcome and orientation, the overview of orientation, we will break you down into smaller groups so that you can meet your orientation leaders, and they'll take you around. They'll kind of do games and activities and a bunch of other things with you so that you can kind of get more acclimated with that small group of students that you'll be hanging out with for the rest of the week here through orientation. As we continue moving forward, you get to go on a nice tour, and we have a nice induction ceremony during that. That's a very student-run induction, so you'll get to meet a lot of the student leaders on campus, and they'll be able to talk to you about a lot of things. One of the things that, to back up a little bit, when you first check in, we have a lot of swag items for you. We want to make sure that you get a nice drip. We got to make sure that you're SMCM swagged out. You know what I mean? So what we've decided to do this year is that we've broken you all up into like beautiful like nest groups. So you have like the red nest, you know, who is also the west nest. And then we have blue, this nice teal blue, you know, looking beautiful right on the sleeve. Teal is the east nest. Then we have our yellow, all right, our gold right there, still swaggy. There it is right on the sleeve, south nest, you know. And then we have our navy blue, which I mean, they all look pretty good to me in navy. I don't know, I kind of like the gold a lot, but this is the north nest. So all of you will be put into one of those groups. And there's a lot of activities that happen throughout that, throughout orientation. Where you get to utilize your nests in addition to your small group. So there's plenty of ways for you to get involved and plenty of prizes and things for you to do throughout orientation. which would be super beneficial. You can walk away with not a lot of nice stuff to decorate your rooms, and just be better than everyone else. So after we do the induction ceremony, and there's a lot of games and activities and stuff in there, so it's not one of those things where we kind of talk at you for an hour and a half. We want you to get involved, want you to start kind of feeling out the campus a little bit. So in addition to that, we're gonna have a nice scavenger hunt at the end of the day. It's gonna be super cool. Thursday, the next day, we're gonna start you off with a little breakfast and then have like a nice opening convocation. So you can kind of get your formal welcoming into the college experience. We're gonna have more orientation group time, and then we're gonna have College 101, a bunch of different things that will kind of set you up for success in college, understanding a lot of different aspects about college, things you may not have thought about, things you may not have heard too much about coming into it, but kind of what that experience is and how to be successful again in college. On the end of Thursday, the residence halls, the places that you reside, will have a nice social for you, and you can kind of bop around and kind of see what's going on there. And it's going to be really interesting. So you can kind of, again, another group of people that you can hang out with, kind of get to know, find new friends. That's kind of the big points that we're trying to make here. Friday, we have your first class. You have Core 101. You can kind of check that out, see what that's all about. And we're going to end the Friday with this nice magician. And I'm not even like, I'm sure you're just like, I'm not 13. All right. Like, I don't need to see a magician. He's going to pull a rabbit out of a hat. This guy is legit. This guy, Daniel Martin, I don't want you to look him up, but you can look him up. And it's top tier magician, this guy. So you will not be disappointed. If you miss it and your friends go, they're all going to be like, I can't believe you didn't go. And you're going to feel bad for the rest of the year because we're not going to bring them back. So this is your one chance to be magicianed out of your mind. So to keep that fun atmosphere going, on Saturday, we have a nice brunch. And then in the middle of the day, there's going to be a lot of activities and things that you can kind of go through, learning more about the community, learning more about different aspects of wellness, learning different academic strategies, as well as meeting with your orientation group to, again, continue to learn and bond with that group. At the end of Saturday, we have the biggest event that we're putting on for orientation for you guys. Like, this is, I mean, we're going to call it, it says Late Night at the Arc. We've subnamed it Arc in the Dark. There's black lights, there's laser tag, there's spin art. There's so many arts and crafts. There's so many different things that are going to be done. There's so many groups and organizations that are taking their time to kind of provide you with additional information. There's going to be food. There's going to be snacks. There's going to be a pool. There's climbing walls. It's ridiculous, the stuff that we're providing. So I want you to come check that out. And you're just like, oh my God, I go to bed at 10 o'clock. I can't stay up till 11. That's fine. Come at 8 and enjoy it from 8 to 9. And then take care of your mental health from 10 to 11. So we have a bunch of stuff that's going to be provided for you. That's all paid for on behalf of the programs board here on campus. And they're one of the student organizations, and they'll all be around, assisted by the orientation leaders. So to provide you really just a fun-filled Saturday evening, very low-key, super excited, super hype event for you all night long. On Sunday, we have the President's Book Signing, which is definitely like a ceremonial thing that we do here, so you can really like etch your name into history here at St. Mary's. So it's very interesting. You get to meet the president. She likes to take selfies from a distance very safely, but they look really nice. And you get to spend the rest of the afternoon at the waterfront. Really kind of, for those of you who the night before, if you got your swim test and got all that stuff in, there's a lot of things that you might be able to partake of on that Sunday afternoon. But we'll have a lot of water activities and a lot of information about the things that you can do in the future, and so much that we have to offer. So that is kind of the big parts of orientation. In addition to the shirts, because I know you probably stopped listening because you were just like, what else are you giving me? We also have a lot of other things that we're going to give you. I don't want to tell you because then you're going to like think that I don't want you to think that it's like too cool and you don't deserve it. But yeah, it's a lot of fun stuff that we have for you. We're going to just outfit you with so many St. Mary's things. So before you hit up the school store, come to orientation and get your first gifts on us. So yeah, I think that's the big stuff. Anything else? Any looming questions that are hiding in the chat somewhere? I should be able to get to. It is hard to like preach and read, you know.
It's popped up a few times, but the swim test, when are you able to take?
Yeah, so the swim test can be taken anytime during the 8 to 11 p.m. It's highly recommended if you would like to bring your swimming stuff with you. There are locker rooms and things where you can get changed. And because you'll live fairly close by, afterwards you can go back to your residence hall and change and dry off a little bit more. But yeah, it'll be done from 8 to 11, and we'll have lifeguards and people there who can administer that swim test and take record of that swim test for you. And if I see someone who said they're unable to do the swim test during orientation, you can just schedule it. You can go into the ARC and let them know that you'd like to take a swim test, and they can schedule that with you at any time that's suitable for you and them. So.
And to answer the questions, it is a physical test, the swim test. So I believe you are required to swim. It's either 1 or 2 laps on our 25-meter pool, and then tread water for Madison said 1. Oh, 2 laps, and then tread water for, I believe, 4 minutes. And then you're certified to use all of the equipment at the waterfront.
You should be able to doggy paddle at least one of those laps. You know, I could struggle a lap down.
Any other question? Oh, what is it? The religious services transportation, that will be for orientation week, and the first Sunday of the semester we'll be providing transportation to various religious services around the community. One, just to help you get to know which churches and other places of services there are, to figure out which community you want to join. But then after that, once you get involved with that community and you need a ride, they'll be able to help you provide transportation each week. Andre, if you have the transfer schedule pulled up, if you mind going through that quickly.
Do I? All right, booyah, right there. So I'm hoping that also just went right to the page that I needed to go to. And it's also sharing where it says fall transfer orientation. Well, this schedule is very similar to the other schedule, just a little bit more condensed away. So any of the transfer students, you would be checking in on Friday as opposed to Wednesday, but it's kind of outfitted the same. After you have your welcome, we have a nice advising for you, and you can meet with the OLs in the 301 peers. So as opposed to the 101, you'd be taking the 301 course. Again, main man, Daniel Martin, you're not exempt from being magician, so you can go ahead and check that out. He's still going to be there blowing minds on the stage, telling you, fantastic. You're not too old for magic. Saturday, a few of the same things. We want to include some more of those, more of the academic things, as well as some of the more structured things related to Title IX, inclusion and diversity. I'm going to say inclusivity, but inclusion and diversity. But again, you're going to be kind of doing those things, but you're going to be doing those with those transfer students, with those other small groups. And we have that for you again, because we want you to stay here. We want you to find your home here as well. You can come hang out with us at the late night Arc in the Dark. All the fun stuff will still be available to you. Here's a lot of the groups and things that are going to be here. I know not on this list, but public safety is going to be here serving up popcorn, cotton candy, some other stuff. We're gonna make sure that there's some quick snacks and stuff going on. But the transfer schedule is very close to the transfer orientation schedule is very similar to the traditional orientation schedule. However, it's just a little bit more condensed to be more of the things that we feel as though are more applicable to you all. So, yeah.
Madison, Nicole, do you mind answering about if a student, there's not a club that suits their desire and they want to start a new one, how would they do that? Either one of you?
I believe, from my most updated knowledge, is you can create your own club, and it has to be approved through our SGA. So you can fill out some forms, SGA will meet with you, and you have to have a certain number of people to want to join the club, and SGA will ask you like questions and stuff like that, and they'll help you get go through the process of getting approved to be your own club. I think that's still how it is.
Mhm.
Cool.
And I don't believe this one test is time. You know, you take your time, you get through it as best you can. Other questions? Will there be part of orientation to go through our schedule so we know where our classes will be? Great question.
Will there be? Absolutely. We want to make sure that you're set up for the most success. So we can take you to all the buildings where your classes is, and we can shoot classes are, and we can take you right up to the class so you know exactly where it is that you'll be, so you can kind of figure out in your head how long it took you to get there, kind of map out directly where it is, so it's not like overly encumbersome when you show up for the first day, so you know exactly where you're going, so we can 100% go through your schedule to make sure that it is perfect for you. That'll be either there's a few opportunities that you can do it during the campus tour. We can kind of peruse through some things at a much greater level, but during some of the small group meetings, we can also kind of walk you through where your classes will be as well.
Do transfer students get an equal amount of swag?
Yeah. They also get some pretty nice swag things as well. Yeah, so there's definitely opportunities for you to get your things. We made sure we bought a little extra just to make sure there's plenty to go around.
Hey, Andre, I'm going to jump in to answer an advising question.
Sure.
Students are going to be receiving emails from the Office of the Registrar that will tell them what time their advising appointment is. Appointments take place on Friday. And I don't want to butcher the time, so I'm not going to say that out loud. I have advising for transfers is 2 to 4:15 because that one's up on my screen. But I think we have a time late morning for first year students. And so you want to be looking at your St. Mary's email. Of course, you should do that every day. I'll put in a plug for that. Something that you're going to hear from your professors, of course, once you start classes. And so what you'll get is an email that gives you the name of the advisor, the location, and the time for your appointment. So, and at that appointment, it's a great chance to get to know your advisor, of course, and your advisor is going to want to get to know you. But it's also, if you have any questions about your schedule, if you want to follow up on something that you've changed, to make sure that if you made a change to your schedule, that it was the right change. It's a great time to also just do that last double check as far as your scheduling goes. I'm going to go ahead and say a couple of other things about scheduling and courses. The first week of the semester is add drop. So you can drop a class without getting any approval, a formal approval but if you want to, on a form or through a Google form, but if you want to add a class, then you need to have the approval of the professor who is teaching the class. And if you want to overload, and I really and truly do not suggest that any first semester, first year, or transfer student overload. And you can see the students, they are agreeing with me, right? So thank you for chiming in with your head nods. If you were to do that, and again, I don't suggest it, then you would need to get the approval of your advisor. One final note, your advisor in most cases is not going to be your summer advisor. So we have a smaller group of faculty who have worked as summer advisors throughout ESOR this past summer, and for most of you, you're going to have an advisor who was not necessarily the person you met with over Zoom to talk through your class selections and your options. So hope that is helpful.
Christine, could you also speak to, there's a question about books. As a faculty member, do you recommend buying books before classes or after the first class?
I would, if you feel confident about the class, I would buy the books now. And partly I say that because you don't know unless your faculty member has circulated a copy of the syllabus or the schedule, you don't know what the reading is going to be, what you're going to need to read first, right? So, I'm thinking as an English professor where sometimes I might have students buy an anthology and maybe 2 novels, and you don't know if I'm starting with the novels or the anthology or what. So I think it's a good practice if you're clear about taking the class and that's unlikely to change, go ahead and buy them. If not, I think most faculty are going to understand if you haven't bought them until you've added the class or committed to that schedule. Some of us will, sort of plan to have handouts that first week for precisely this reason. But in other cases, and I'm thinking here about sciences that are using a specific textbook, that's something they probably can't get around, right? In terms of maybe needing you to have that textbook at the beginning. Remember, you can return, right? You can make returns. I know if you're ordering from Amazon, that's more of a pain, but you can always, if you bought books from the bookstore, you can return those books once you bought them.
There was a question about walk-on sports. I don't think I can answer that. I don't know if anyone else can. We will have club sport tryouts during the first week of classes, and you can learn more about those at our involvement fair. And we'll also have coaches and the athletic staff available during the first week of classes, so you could ask them questions as well on Wednesday, September 1st, over at the Jamie L. Roberts Stadium. But I don't know if Nicole or Madison, you have any?
Yeah, for walk-ons for our varsity athletic teams, it kind of depends on the coach and depends on the sport. So it's different for each. So if you're interested in walking onto a team, look up that team on our athletics website and see the coach's information and email them. They'll have the most information for you.
For packages, that's been popping in a lot. You will get an email with your campus center mailbox number. That's where all of your packages will go to. We don't deliver to the individual buildings. So if you want to, starting Monday, you can have your package delivered to campus, but we'll be sending out your campus center mailbox number shortly. And during the first week of classes, you can stop by the Office of Student Activities in the campus center to pick up your mailbox key and actually see where your mailbox is. Letters will be put in the mailbox in the long hallway of the campus center, but all packages can be picked up at our campus center package center. Other questions? Christine, maybe you can answer, where can we see what materials, books we need for each class?
So I will post a link to the bookstore, but the best way to do that is to go to the bookstore, select your class, and then you can see what books have been ordered by the faculty member that way. But I will mute myself and then I'm going to look for that.
Ooh, and one other question before you go.
Oh, yes.
Maybe about the new business administration program.
So business administration right now is a minor. Faculty have been working on a proposal for a major during the past year, and I think that work will continue over this coming year. There is I think a goal to have materials submitted in order for the major to be approved for fall 22. However, I say that like that's the plan, but I say it as a plan. So you certainly should keep your eyes open, your ears open for updates on that front. But that is the current plan. But we have to move through the regular steps in order for that plan to become reality.
Working on campus, anyone want to jump on how do you get a job on campus? Work study available here at St. Mary's?
Madison should answer that because she works in the career development office and is highly knowledgeable about higher SMCM.
So you can find all of our available on-campus job positions, both for work study and just regular job positions if you're interested, on our Hire SMCM website. You will get a walkthrough on how to use that in your Core P 101 classes early on in the semester. So it's kind of a little bit of a complicated website, but you'll have plenty of people to help you figure it out. You can look for what kind of jobs you're interested in, like the library or anything like that. It'll post how many hours a week it's looking for, what the job description entails, and you have to have a Center for Career and Professional Development approved resume. So you'll upload your resume onto the Hire SMCM website. One of us at the Career Center will approve it, and then you'll be able to apply for whatever you want. I'm seeing a lot of things roll in. So if you are able to access Hire SMCM, then you can log in. If you don't need any help figuring that out, log on in and apply for whatever you want. We have a few people currently approving resumes. So if you upload that, then you'll be able to apply to whatever you would like. And I believe work study is something you had to apply for through FAFSA. I have never done work study, so I don't know information on that. So
If you're having trouble logging into Hire SMCM or any of your St. Mary's accounts, please contact our IT department. I'll put their phone number in the chat so you can contact them and they should be able to help you.
An approved resume is you'll upload your resume to our Hire SMCM, and then one of our peer-to-peers or our peer lead interns will give you feedback if it's not approved. Basically, we're looking for a very basic resume that just highlights all of your abilities to the best we believe possible. That's just what an approved resume is. It's essentially what our Career Center deems is best for our on-campus opportunities, if that makes sense.
What other questions do we have? I'm always this calm. Thank you. Oh. Well, we'll stick around here just for a little bit more. Oh, another question. Is there a place we can get a printed copy of the move-in schedule, Andre?
Yes. When you first arrive to campus, that'll be one of the things that we provide to you. We can give you a complete copy of the orientation schedule and everything that's happening during that time.
Is there a place to see all of our classes?
So you should be able to see your schedule on the portal. And I will put a link to the portal into the chat. And I believe, though, I always have to kind of think back to what it looks like if I log in as a student. And I believe that you would go to your My Academics page. Students, do you want to speak to the best place to see that? Make sure I'm right about it. I see heads nodding, so good news.
Yeah, that's great.
I'll put the link in just a second into the chat.
If you didn't get an email for your roommate information, who can we email for it? Danielle.
Me.
Do you want to throw your email in there again?
Yeah.
And Justine, you said how many credits are required? If you just
Sure. So credits required. Most first year students are going to take 17 credits. So that's 4 credit classes plus 1 credit Core P. The exception to that are students who are enrolled in Bio 105 who would actually take 18 credits. So it's 4 credit classes, Core P, and the 1 credit lab that's part of Bio 105. So you would register for, and you should be registered at this point for Bio 105 and Bio 105L. That is the opening course for new biology majors, also for new marine science, neuroscience, If you're environmental studies and you know you want to go the hard science route, that could also be a course that you would be interested in taking. Biochemistry, that's another one. So that is what I think most students are going to have to be considered a full-time student. That's 12 credits. One thing to keep in mind, and what I always tell my advisees, is that if you start off the semester at 12 credits, so 3 classes, 3 4-credit classes, and you drop one, that's going to put you below the full-time student status. And that just means you don't have any wiggle room going into the semester. And also, unless you're transferring in credits, you would be starting off behind, because you need at least 16 credits a semester for each semester that you're here in order to graduate on time. And that's, again, assuming that you're not transferring in any APs or community college credits or something like that.
We're close to 8, so if there are any other questions you want to drop in the chat, we'll stick around for a few more minutes, but I just want to thank you all for coming out to the last Hawk Talk. We're still here. We'll be here getting ready for you for the next few weeks. So if you have any questions, any assistance, any help with anything, feel free to reach out to us, and we will be happy to help you. What is ZME? Just before we go, the ZME is a social media app that we use during your admitting process to get all of the information about what's going on with being a new student and a transfer student in orientation. If you download the ZME app and then search for St. Mary's, you can join the conversation that we've been having all summer. And a lot of information is still going in there. If you have questions about academic accommodations, you can email ADA support. Someone can throw that in the chat, and they can start you on the process of talking about what accommodations you might need and helping to support you that way. All right. Thanks everyone for joining us. Again, we'll stick around for a few more minutes just in case you have any more personal questions that you want to ask. Have a great night.